for example, this is something I was talking to a friend that actually develops VR worlds. He's like, can you imagine if you work from home and your home is a VR, you're in VR and you have like 8 screens up, and the company doesn't have to pay for 8 screens. They just have to pay for the one VR kit, and you're in this office on the Niagara Falls watching a live view or whatever out your window with wherever 8 screens and working wherever you want.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the BlockHash Podcast, episode 338 today with Jason. He is the creator of Pika Crypto and Elders of Ki, and we're going to talk about it today. They're also the sponsor for the show at the moment. So welcome, Jason. Happy to have you here and excited to dive into more details on what Pika is and what you guys are working on and sharing that with the audience today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm very happy to have you. Maybe before we get started, tell me a little bit about your backgrounds and, how you kind of wound up in Web3 and crypto and blockchain. I think for everyone, it's quite unique and interesting. Would love to hear your story and kind of get some insight there.
Sure. I've actually been involved in blockchain since 2016, to be honest. It's been a long road. Mostly because I think most people who might be in blockchain now, where their friend says, buy Bitcoin back in the day, and just kind of shrugging it off and then seeing it take off. It's like, oh, I should buy some. So I got involved very early. My background is that I've actually always kind of worked with gaming in general. I used to make Flash games, on the random websites in the early 2000s where you had to go to blackwhitesheep.com or something like that and find Flash stuff. And I used to make that. So with that combination, I learned Solidity. I've learned C#+. I've learned a lot of different coding languages so I can kind of progress with that. I actually was the chief marketing officer for GameFi Pika, the whole company, for a while. And then the main dev stepped down, and he's still around for helping out and stuff like that. But he's passed on the torch. And the CEO and stuff like that also voted me in as the head of the company at the time. And so there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, but I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've definitely played a lot of blockchain games and definitely played a lot of games in general. So really good place for me to be working in charge of a blockchain game project.
Very cool. Now, I know those early gaming sites you're talking about. I used to play a lot of those when I was much younger, especially in high school when I had the time. They had one called Crazy Monkey Games or something like that. And they had all of these off-brand games you could play on the PC. They're fantastic. One of my favorites was Boxhead Zombies or something like that. And you could run around and as this little box character and dress up as Rambo, and you get all these guns and you could shoot all these zombies, and it would just go indefinitely. But no, I love those games. I think a lot of us did. They were a lot of fun. But it's really cool. Your background kind of started something similar to that, and then got into crypto per investment. Did you invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum, or what was your first entryway?
I actually invested in Ethereum, and it was, when I first got involved, it was about $98, if I remember correctly. And then I really started paying attention to Ethereum and cryptos and what that was and how it functions, because I like knowing things, and I have a really bad habit of taking things apart and seeing how they work and then putting them back together again, like electronics and stuff. So I basically started doing that with how does blockchain work, and start taking it apart in my mind and reading about it and understanding it more. So horrible habit, but it can definitely be for the benefit.
That just means you have a creative mind. You like to pull things apart, put them back together, see how they work, see how they function. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. One of my first, I definitely bought Bitcoin a long time ago. I bought Bitcoin and Litecoin in 2013, and I lost all of it. It wasn't very much, but I lost it all just on stupid exchanges and wallets that I forgot. And I think probably a lot of people did. True. But I'll never forget my first Ethereum investment, and it was $7, and I was in college.
Nice.
And that was pretty fun to watch, because it was right on the fringe of, is Ethereum going to become a real network and smart contract platform? Are people really going to
Hmm.
build these decentralized applications at the time?
Right.
Um, and it was like right after the DAO hack, like 6, 7 months afterwards. So people were very like pessimistic, and then up it
Yeah.
went with Bitcoin, and we formed an industry. It was a very cool time.
Yeah. That's
I think that
awesome.
was like early 2017, something like that.
Yeah. It was early. Yeah. I remember like even with the rise of Dogecoin, everybody was like, you buy it, buy
Hmm.
it, buy it. And it was the whole point of being a meme. I bought some back when it was 0.002, I think, penny wise. So
Hmm.
yeah, I held on to that and then went up to the 50 cent and I sold everything. And I was like,
Nice.
yay.
I had a couple million Doge for a very short period of time. Then I got too nervous and I took it out, and I probably
Mhm.
should have left it. And then that was like at a couple pennies.
Yeah.
Um, but I was so nervous. I didn't want to hold it at the time, but I should have. Man, there's things you go back and you kick yourself on. You're like, why didn't I do that? But I
Right.
mean, it's always easy to look back in hindsight.
Oh, easy.
So what tell me more about Pika Crypto and kind of what you're building around this. I know we've talked about it all the time, and I think people have heard about it enough at this point, but you guys are really, pioneering an interesting area of what gaming is today
Mhm.
and what it's been in the past, but also merging that with blockchain as a technology through NFTs, through Web3, through crypto.
Mhm.
And it's really important because I think it's one of those intersections that will really help build out this industry and bring it mainstream. So, how is Pika Crypto fitting into that intersection, into that process, and what are you guys most focused on?
That's a great question. I think the team itself has really been focusing on what are the issues we see in blockchain gaming because gaming industry is massive. Like there's so many people that just play games on their phone, their tablet, their Xbox, their PC, etc. And it's such a big platform. It's like how can we make that to where people can jump on in a web3 base and actually start earning and actually making money just doing what they love and having fun with games and making money. And so a lot of the times we see, there's a lot of games out there, and it's really easy to go onto blockchain games and see that a lot of the issues are very consistent, like having to sign your wallet every single time you make a step or do anything in the game, or having to go to a whole new chain on the blockchain that you don't even know how to get to, or you have to go to some website and follow instructions how to get the token to even play the game in the first place. And there's a lot of issues along those lines. So our whole kind of fit in place is to be able to create a system that's going to be easy that anybody can access, and you sign once and then the system just reads what your wallet you have and then use API data from the game to kind of work itself and cash out prizes, which we can always talk about too. But the whole idea is that you just sign once, you play the game as normal. It's like a ranked system, and you have fun. And the higher XP, the more payout you get, and you can go cash out anytime. So it's not time limit. It just makes it easier, kind of like battle passes on Fortnite or something. You pay, you get in, and then from there you can earn by being better than everybody else. Very competitive. So that's kind of where our place is, trying to find a solution. It might not benefit us because we're not trying to create our own network or anything like that. We have a token as a placeholder to show people this is how it will function. And we hope that other people take that and use that system because we want to expand gaming in general. We don't want to just be like, use us, make us
Mhm.
benefit. We want to benefit everybody and create something that everybody's going to be wanting to use and excited about and have fun with.
Yeah, I think that's also one of the most interesting drivers right now for those that are in the gaming industry, whether you're a gamer, developer, whatever it is, um, to incorporate some kind of model where you can make money and incentivize gamers to do what they do. Because I think traditional revenue models that exist today for gamers aren't very good. Like you have to be like a big streaming influencer. You have to
Hmm.
contribute to like a massive platform to earn like a small amount of money. And there's a lot of good gamers out there that dedicate their life and their time, I think, and don't really get much of a reward from it. So I think this is a really good
Right.
opportunity for a lot of people, in many different aspects. and it's interesting to incorporate that here with Pika and with the trading card game Elders of Ki. Tell me more about the TCG too. It's got this kind of like cross feel with like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, kind of like Pokemon-esque elements to it. Tell me more about it and what are you guys building there?
Yeah, I always tell people it's a passion project for me because I love creating storylines and worlds. I've been writing books and stuff like that. So, um, Elders of Kai, we wanted to create a world that wasn't really like collecting Pokemon, and we wanted to create a world that was like characters and heroes and villains that you can gather and collect and play and use in your deck. And I wanted, and I am creating a physical version, the digital version, and then the digital version will also connect to Web3 as a side thing for people who want to. But this will be playable where you can go to Walmart, Target, or stores in general, or Amazon, and actually have physical cards to play. And the whole world itself was created by a writer that we hired, started creating the world for us, and then gave us ideas about characters and clans. And we created this massive 110-page lore book for season 1. And we have 5 seasons planned right now. And we know how each season's like rough draft is going to play out, but we created a lot of lore because we wanted to make sure that it's not just, hey, here's a character, there you go. Like each character has their own multi-paragraph story. There's the season has its own story. There's a main overarching story for the whole game and the whole world itself. And we just want players to be able to not just have a trading card game that they can just, oh, I have cards, etc., but we want to have a whole new world out there that people can become fans of. Like, I want to be a fan of it. I want to have fun with it. I want others to see it, read it, and also want to be fans and see it grow. And that's kind of the goal here.
Got it. Tell me more about the lore and the storyline, and take us like deep inside Elders of Ki, to give us more of an understanding of like what we can expect.
Yeah. So one thing is going to be interesting because Elders of Ki, they're actually our elders, and a lot of the storyline kind of makes the elders hidden. Like, you don't understand like who they are. They're kind of like in the background. The storyline itself goes along the lines of the elders left a book and left lore and left manuscripts and stuff for the people to read and understand how the world works. They understand like Kai itself became self-regulated, and then eventually it became this ultimate force, which was known as Ezra's, which was later called the Creator. And the Creator created clans and created the people and everything. And the elders basically tell the story about who Ezra's is and who the clans are and where they all come from. And the issue is that the clans understood that Kai, which is like the energy force, the life force of the world, kind of like the Force, but a little bit more like Avatar
Like
kind of powers. Yeah, it's like an energy. And the different clans can use the energy differently. So like one can use more like lava and magma, and one's fire, one's water, one's earth, and kind of Avatar-esque. But and then there's the people that are resilient in the sand and can survive harsh climates. And Ezra's was being left out of a lot of their teachings to their next generation, because they had power. So they were like, we don't need a creator. We don't need something. So they started doing their own thing. And eventually he just became a myth. And so a lot of the storyline has him bringing in creatures and stuff like that in each clan that are there to cause chaos. And it puts the world into a very, very epic kind of like, who's going to win this war thing going on, and who's responsible. Who cares if it's Ezra's, or is it Ezra's, or is it not Ezra's? Is it actually just the clans being vicious or whatever? So there's a lot of moving parts to the story. And like I said, it is 110 pages, and most of it I wrote myself. So
Nice.
it's a lot of story.
A lot of writing.
Yeah. we had that writer that gave us a lot of help and like pointers and said do this and that, and so we just me and one of the guys, we kind of sat down and started discussing what we could do, and then I sat down and just started writing and got through most of it, and then he came through and touched up on storyline that uh, making sure there was no continuity errors, because that's going to be really important with something this big.
So is the storyline like a linear trajectory with like a linear outcome, or is this like a world that's very modular and you could tell many different stories? Like Super Mario, for example, it's like you can tell many different stories, or The Legend of Zelda, you can tell many different stories and multiple different versions of that world.
Mhm.
Or is it just very straightforward?
I think one thing that I'm doing with the storyline that I don't think a lot of games do, but maybe they do. I'm just in my head thinking this, but what we're doing is that with the storyline, there's a setup, and basically the current season, there's going to be an enemy that comes out of current season to be the big baddie for season 2. And there's a lot of individual storylines that point to that, and it will keep players guessing who's going to be the one to reign supreme in season 2 and take over and try to boot power play. And so season 2 is going to have a storyline based off of someone in season 1 that kind of comes in as the baddie. And then season 2 is going to have a whole new amount of characters that are going to have stories that interact with what's going on. So, and that's going to be kind of how that works out, is that in each season, there's going to be someone that rises up and causes chaos or order or whatever to then set up the next season.
Okay, yeah. So I thought, I was wondering like who's the villain, like who's the bad guy. So, but I guess it'll come in like story arcs, right? Season by
Mhm.
season.
Yep. That's where it's like with the lore book itself, it will be available to read through. The lore book itself, you got to read the character story and be like, oh, this sounds like this could be the big bad guy. Wait a second. Because there will be one of the characters of season 1 that turn out to be like the big terror for the next season and the next season, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. I mean, this sounds like something that could very easily turn into like a TV show or a movie at some point. Like there's so much lore that you're putting into it. I'm sure just more
Mhm.
will pile on over time. Is that a direction maybe one day that you maybe hope it takes if it gets popular enough, and you know the mythology behind it is quite unique?
Yes, I actually have a group of animators that are in charge of like cartoons that you can watch on YouTube, and a lot of people like. And there's some animators that I talk to that make TV shows in general, and so there's a lot of people that are wanting to see this play out. And if it gets popular and gets enough fan base, then that is definitely on the agenda to expand with maybe a movie or TV shows and stuff like that, because we want it to be its own thing, like a whole new
Mhm.
kind of thing out there.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if there was like a TV show series about this at some point,
Hmm.
or maybe like an extended comic series, or just more to like
Yeah.
carry on and let the lore develop over time. Because it's a lot to try and inject it all at once, and I'm sure that you know because you wrote most of
Yeah.
it. Um, but yeah, it'd be cool to see like something extended and multiple seasons or issues or volumes, something along those lines would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Um, Tell me more about the functionality of the TCG as well. Like, so other than like the physical version of it, like the
Mhm.
Web3 side of it, how does that kind of function for someone? Is it like NFT based? Is there like a reward mechanism with Pika? What are some of the aspects that go into it?
Yeah. So easiest way to explain it, because I've been trying to dumb it down for
Hmm.
everybody. So we're going to launch NFT collections where you can buy the packs. There's a single card pack or 8 card pack, and so you get random NFTs out of those packs. And what happens is that those unlock in the game, so you can play with them like just like normal. And the game itself will have the Web 2 side where you just free play, you win, you unlock cards at random. And then there'll be a what's called ranked version, like rank matches. And rank matches basically will be the Web3 side. So depending on how many NFTs that you have, our current way of doing it that I think that we are all agreed upon how it's going to function now is if you have like 1 to 20 NFTs, you get a 1x multiplier for your winnings. And if you have like 20 to 50, it's 2x, 50 to 100, it's 3x, and anything 100 above NFT wise, you get 4 times rewards. So rank matches will happen month to month. First 7 days of each month, you pay $25 a Pika to get into the game. And then from there, after the first 7 days are done, everybody that's involved in the game, rank matches, will then start playing. Top 50% of players will be rewarded with whatever pool has been added. It will be split amongst the top 50% of players. So the goal is to be the top 50%. So you can at least double your money at that point. And it's going to be paid out based upon XP. So the more XP you get, the top 50%, the more you're going to get paid out. So it's really encouraging players to compete because it's ranked. It's just like any kind of rank match you do nowadays on any game. You're competing with other players. You're getting the most XP. You're hitting those leaderboards. It's tournament style. So that's going to be very competitive play. And obviously, if you win, that pool split amongst all the top 50% based upon XP, and then you can cash that out anytime. You don't have to cash out immediately. You can take your time. It doesn't matter. It's just you can let it sit there as long as you want. You can keep playing, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all paid out in Pika. You pay Pika. It's paid out in Pika. So it's all functioning on Pika side.
Nice. Are there rewards if you get into like the 80th percentile, 90th percentile in terms of XP or players that are winning? Like, do they get like any kind of additional boost, or is it just you have to get into the 50th?
So I think at the moment it's just as into the 50th at the moment. Obviously we're still in development stage. So if someone always comes up to us and like has an idea and it sounds like a better idea, we're more than happy to look at it before launch because it makes sense. The contract itself that we're working on, obviously it's very complicated because of that. So on our side, it's not easy, but it's, we are very confident in creating this to where players just pay 25 Pika or whatever, and they get a multiplier depending on how many NFTs they have. And then they just want to hit that top 50 percentile of the game for that month. And then they earn rewards. And that's as simple as it gets.
It'd be cool to do like a bracket style tournament for this. And just have a whole bunch of people. I mean, I don't know, maybe you cap it at like 50 people, 100 people, like something crazy. And then there's like an entry fee that goes into the pool. And then maybe it can be tiered as you get into those final brackets, final 8, final 4, finals. I don't know. That'd be really cool at some point. I know a lot of games go that direction.
Yeah, we actually did look at that idea. And a lot of the people that we have in our community who are like, well, I don't have time to play that intensely, or like, I don't have, like, how does that work for scheduling? Do you have a schedule? And then how does that work for international people? Like, you know, people are in Europe waking up and then people in the US are going to bed. Like, so I think it came down to trying to figure out how timing would work. What's the time limits? How much time do people have for those tournaments? Would it be like turn-based? Like I do a turn and then I just wait for them to respond within 24 hours or something. And then how long does that game go? So there's a lot of variables in that that could prolong earnings or make it to where you never finish that match, or an AI takes over because the person's like, hey, it's been like a couple of days, I'm out or something. So that was the only challenge that we were facing with that one. It's like, well, what if we just do rank systems? Because a lot of people know, oh yeah, ranked match or rank. That's a really common thing to hear in like Call of Duty or Fortnite or something like that. And why not use that terminology that's people are familiar with and try to create something along those lines?
I guess you could do tournaments regionally. Like if you did one in the US, you could do one like on the West Coast or something. They do something similar with the ranked matches too, because you have to jump into certain servers, and certain servers are time-based, zone-based, and some are dead because it's 1 a.m. Some are, you know, very vibrant because it's 5 o'clock after work, and most people are coming home to jump on. I don't know, but I used to play a lot of the ranked matches for things like Call of Duty and Halo back in the day. So those
Yeah.
systems do work really well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something easy that we can implement in a blockchain setting as well. That's pretty straightforward. So that's kind of the route we decided to try. And I mean, the cool thing is we have that ability to add on to the game if we want to. It's upgradable contracts and how we do everything. So it's very doable.
Absolutely. Um, what about if someone wanted to just invest into like Pika and they wanted to buy it because they think maybe the value will go up, they want to speculate, they think Elders of Ki will be a huge hit or something.
Mhm.
Is there a place they can go if they just want to stack some bags of Pika?
Yeah. So since we're on the Ethereum chain, you can do that on Uniswap, like the main stuff like that, 1 inch, Rubik. And then one of our partners is StealthX. If anybody's ever heard of them, they're a fantastic team. I love working with them. You can actually go there and buy Pika too. And with that one, it's really easy to use because you just send whatever token you want to that wallet, and then they'll send the Pika back to you. It's really easy. You can even buy Pika with Bitcoin with that system, so it's pretty cool. uh,
Nice.
with we also are on coin tiger, which is like an exchange over in Europe and China and Asia, stuff like that. And yeah, we're growing right now. We have Gate.io that's pending launch
Oh,
on
nice.
their system. We've been working with them since last September. They want to see the game launch, and once the game launches, they just want to see how it functions, and then they want to add us. So we already got approved. We've been audited by Surtech and stuff, so they were
Mhm.
more than happy to work with us. They just want to see the game launch at this point. So that
Right.
was the only condition that they had for us.
Yeah, what's it like trying to get Pika listed on an exchange? Like, is it similar to the Gate.io process? Like, they want to see the use case pan out before they add you, or are others more strict about it? Like Binance maybe, or what's I guess your experience been like going through it?
Nightmare fuel. Mostly, mostly if you haven't done it before, getting listed on any exchange is nightmare because, um, like for example, Simplex was one that we were trying to work with before. KuCoin, let's do KuCoin. Like we've been
Mhm.
trying to list on KuCoin for a year and a half, and with KuCoin, they require a daily volume for 6 months minimum of like 120,000. And then not only that, if you dip one day below that, then you immediately disqualified. And then
Oh,
on
wow.
top of that, once you're done with the 6 months process, there was like a deposit amount depending on like what they reviewed it and said it was worth this or that. You put a deposit in, it holds it, and then they give it back over a certain amount of time, usually 30 or 60 day, just to make sure you don't pull everything out of the project, etc. So it was like a holding fee. And there was little things like that we kept running into where there was like, yeah, it costs this much, and it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's like, okay, I'd rather
Mhm.
put that into the game. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
plus I think people are gravitating more and more towards DEXs these days. I mean, it would
mhm,
make sense. I know these exchanges are for profits. They want to see that volume in place and they want to
yeah,
hedge themselves against, getting in trouble for some reason. But at the same time, it's like, why waste all this time, effort, and money trying to get on a big exchange if you could just be on Uniswap,
right.
or any other swap or DEX out there that's, essentially not that difficult to get listed or at least has a lower barrier of entry.
Right. Like even with the decks, it really helps us because we can make sure, because with us there's a 5% buy and sell tax when you're
Mhm.
buying and selling Pika. 3% of that goes to stakers. So as Ethereum. So like if you're buying and selling Pika, 3% of that it goes to all everybody staked as Ethereum. So they like just buying Pika and holding it on the staking pool and get rewarded. There's 1% that gets burned and then 1% to development. And that little bit of tax really helps out in the long run to make sure that we continue through. You don't get that with big exchanges, and a lot of the times it's just they do their own thing and function however they do it with contracts, and you don't really see a lot of that. It's just little bit different. But yeah, it's a whole nother animal out there. There's so many fake people too trying to say I'm this exchange, I'll help, and they're not.
Right.
So yeah, it's crazy.
So is Elders of Ki just the primary project and baby under Pika, or do you have other ideas and other projects maybe that you want to also launch and jumpstart under the Pika brand at some point?
So under the Pika brand, for those who haven't looked into us or known about us, the company that owns Pika is called GameFi. They own the trademark to GameFi. They are GameFi. With them, they have another project called Cyber Rogues, which is a side-scrolling beat 'em up game that is live on iPhone and Android. You can go play it today. They have an NFT collection with that they haven't quite launched fully yet. They haven't integrated the blockchain side of things, but it is a free game that you can play. And they can very easily set up that reward system very quickly, but they haven't yet. Uh, I'm looking to launch this thing called Pika Bridge, which will be a bridging system that will connect all networks and all tokens to any bridge. The reason why I was trying to create one because a lot of times with those kind of bridges, there's a fee involved um, that users have to pay to use their decks, and I wanted to eliminate that because I rather benefit people and have people look at our project in a positive light and say, "Oh, that's just a free tool we can use." Great. Um, that way they just pay the gas fees like normal, but we'll handle everything else. So it makes it really easy for them. I think that's one thing that we have an issue with right now with blockchain is a lot of people are just trying to create things to take advantage of people who don't know better. Oh, this is like 10% of the cost when I transfer here to here. And it's like they're taking advantage of people and I don't like it.
Right.
So I rather create something that people can use and be happy using, um, and then just see positivity and share it. And so the word gets out better that, hey, that bridge is awesome and it's free to use in that aspect. So that's what I'd rather do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love the tech and the innovation in the space, but the one thing that I don't like is the greed.
Hmm.
Because I think it leads to so many problems. It obviously leads to so many problems, whether it's an exploit or a hack or an attack vector or
Yep.
a bad actor, whatever it may be. You just hear it. I hear it almost every single day now. Like I have a news aggregator and every single day there's a new hack. Someone,
Hmm.
something, some wallet, some chain got hacked.
Yep.
And it's just like, and at the same time, a lot of this industry is driven by FOMO and FUD and, which bag to have when you're going to the moon. And
Yep.
it's like the one thing that can overshadow the tech sometimes. And it's fun. Like, I mean, we all buy into it every once in a while and enjoy it.
Sure.
But I mean, it's not the most beneficial thing, I think, for the space. And yeah, then they raise fees for certain things. They create certain restrictions. They try to, milk every token they can or every protocol they can to, get as much out of it. I don't know. It's one
Mhm.
thing that does bother me about the space.
Yeah, there was like I remember when the meme coin thing was taken off last was 2021,
Hmm.
and there was coins out there that was like 2% buy-in or 0% buy-in, and people are like, "Oh, I'll buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it," because it's a meme. And then it
Hmm.
was a honeypot. They didn't know what that meant because they're new. And honeypot means that it's like 90% to tax to cash out and you lose all your money. And
Right.
that was happening a lot, and it's just that greed thing where it's like I'm tempting you in and then oops, like that sucks, not my responsibility, and then take off. That's why my community knows who I am. They know my name. They know how to reach me. They know my DMs are open, because I rather be open and honest and make sure that I'm doing everything I can for the user and the community to succeed, because I think that is a safe place to be at. And I think that others will see that it's safe for them to be at as well.
Absolutely. And I think community is also something that lends so much of the value to any of these projects within blockchain, within crypto.
Hmm.
Without that community, I mean, it's really hard to justify anything. Like I could start a token tomorrow. Anyone could start a token.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, you can create tokens on Bitcoin now,
Yeah. Yeah.
like Pepe coin.
Right.
But if there's no community, and then there's not a whole lot of value. And a lot of these, projects that have value usually have pretty strong communities, big or small.
Yep.
So yeah, that's something to focus on. I know you guys have a community. Is it primarily based on Telegram? Do you guys have community on Discord or in other locations?
We have Telegram, and I love Discord personally, and
Hmm.
I created Discord servers for a long time. So when I got to Pika, I helped create the Discord as it is now,
Hmm.
and I love it. But there's like not many active users on our Discord. It's mostly just Telegram, and for me, it's sad because I like Discord more.
I used to really like Discord. I think there's been a little bit of a mass exodus out of Discord though.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure why, but I think it's become too spammy and they
Mhm.
haven't done much about it. Too body, too spammy, too many notifications. It's you really got to be like a junkie to kind of like really enjoy
Yeah.
it, unless you have like a private server. It's just so much info.
Or a workaholic.
Yeah.
It's just I need the pings.
I used to moderate a couple, and it's so much work. Um,
Hmm.
Especially when you get thousands and thousands of people in there. It's just like you can't keep up with everything. And if everyone's
No.
active all in a relative time frame, it's just like a complete nightmare. So you rely on bots for everything. Then you got to manage what the
Hmm.
bots do and the bots' reliability. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
at least Telegram is more straightforward. You don't got like a billion channels to worry about.
True. The only issue we have on Telegram is that when we start to gain a lot of volume, someone else always creates like a fake version of our Telegram and
Yeah.
says, "Oh, click the link. Your wallet is compromised. Please help," or whatever. And it's like, well, we we just tell our people like, here's advice, don't do this, never give your seed phrase. Like we try to be safe and
I know.
educate people, but this is how Telegram works and how it functions, sadly.
Does Telegram have like a verification method or pathway for channels yet? Do you know?
Channels, no. Individuals, yes, but you just pay. Like you just pay for
Okay.
it and then you got the check. Like it's
I
really
guess anyone can
easy.
buy verification now.
Yeah, apparently you got money, you're good to go. Like so that's the kind of issue I'm seeing.
Oh yeah, I bet I feel you on that. I've had to bounce a community around for a while. Unfortunately, like Discord was just too much, and then WhatsApp
Mm,
didn't quite work out, and Telegram seems like a good sweet spot. But
yeah.
um, I don't know. It's tricky, yeah, especially when you have people that like certain places. Like some people just love YouTube and they just want to
Mm,
stay there. Other people they love Spotify and they just want to sit on Spotify and listen to podcasts, and other people want to engage and they want to be in a group. And I don't know,
true.
everyone's so different, so it's hard to manage it all.
Yeah.
um but what's your, before we start wrapping up, because I think we've gone for almost 40 minutes,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on gaming these days, I guess, and maybe where we're going with gaming? I feel like it's really accelerating
Hmm.
under everyone's nose. I don't think everyone really realizes yet
True.
where gaming is going to take us and how realistic it's going to be. Like the things that are coming out of like Mid Journey, the things that are coming out of Unreal Engine
Hmm.
are quite fascinating. Like
Yeah.
I've seen game developers now using certain versions of Real Engine, and renderings are happening like in real time, and it's like you can
Hmm.
look like tens of miles like down a landscape and you can't even see like the edge. Like
Right.
like there's certain games you play and you know where the boundary is. I can see it like right over there on the hill. But now it's like it looks infinite, and it's quite crazy.
Yeah, it's insane what's happening in the gaming industry. And I was joking with a friend earlier this week about Ready Player One, and watch
Yeah.
that or read it. It's that whole concept of like having more virtual world is more preferred, and you can work in virtual reality, etc.
Hmm.
And I think we're slowly headed towards that direction, but I don't think it's going to be like what it is now, obviously, with like big old Oculus on your head or something. I think it's
Hmm.
going to evolve more, become more of like, hey, I have this in the corner, I strap in and I'm into it, and like it's AR or augmented reality. There's a lot of stuff moving towards that direction that will make it more interactive. And then since it's more interactive, they will have more opportunities for people to get involved in like working in the interactive sphere, which is
Mhm.
crazy. For example, this is something I was talking to a friend that actually develops VR worlds. He's like, can you imagine if you work from home and your home is a VR, you're in VR and you have like 8 screens up, and the company doesn't have to pay for 8 screens. They just have to pay for the one VR kit, and you're in this office on the Niagara Falls watching a live view or whatever out your window with
Wherever
eight
you want.
screens and working wherever you want. He's like, the productivity that's available there is going to be unmatched. And that's kind of where work stuff can head to, as well as video games, where the just the interactiveness is going to get more than what we can comprehend even at the moment, and just be just unreal. But I think it's just becoming more and more understanding that there's got to be either blockchain integration with tokens and coins for games.
Mhm.
Like League of Legends has their own coin going on, but it's not crypto, but it could be, because it doesn't kind of interacts the same way as like a crypto coin.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff's going to become more popular once it becomes more mainstream, and big companies are already testing it out with NFTs. So I'm sure it's just going to be more and more so, and less noticeable that they're doing it.
Yeah, I think a big company or a big studio is probably going to do it first. There's a lot of rumors like that Rockstar Games is going to have GTA 6
Mm,
incorporate a lot of this stuff and have like a real economy. GTA 5, like they introduced it a couple of years back, like a whole stock market and everything, like real
yep.
time trading. Like you can literally live a life in GTA 5 now and you can make an income and do all these things. Like it's not just, oh, I got to go shoot someone up at a side job, but
Right.
you can start a real business and you can
Hmm.
work and you can trade and invest, and it's crazy. Like
Yeah.
people still live in GTA 5. It came out in like 2013 and they literally
All right.
have a life there. Um, and supposedly the rumors in GTA 6 they're going to incorporate more of a crypto model into it so that what you earn in the game
Hmm.
will transfer into real life, which is a really cool um,
Right.
concept to really think about, that you can just play games whether you're online or offline and make a living that translates into real world money. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. And I think if they decide to do that, it's going to change how people view games, because you're no longer just playing a video game for funsies. Like you're
Mhm.
actually doing something to earn income, and people will be able to do it. And it's definitely possible. It's not even like a that could happen. It's like, no, that's possible now. It's just companies have to just make it happen, and then they can do it, and they're up and running. um Shoot, like if they incorporate blockchain into their game, and then they just take a percentage of whatever you cash out, they're
Mhm.
automatically going to make so much money because of us long term, because people are cashing out to then have real money, and they're making a percentage of it every single time someone does. Like there's so many ways they could take advantage of that, and people would be happy, they would be happy.
Yeah, it would create essentially a whole new economy. Like people would come
Hmm.
home and they'll go into like GTA 6 for 8 straight hours and rob stores and loot people online and make a real income, maybe a couple $100 a month or something, maybe a few thousand, who
Yep.
knows?
Yep.
But it's insane to think about. But I love the direction it's going, and I used to really like Oculus, but
Mm.
it's one of those things where you do it for a while and it just starts hurting your eyes and you get headaches, and
Yeah.
it's like it's too much stimulus right in front of your face. And
Yeah.
I do think like the future of that, it's gonna be like you're gonna have to like have a whole room and you're just gonna put on a
Mm.
pair of glasses and the room transforms or something, because
Yeah.
the whole immersive real environment like Ready Player One, everyone wants that. And I think we're moving to that, direction eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna be on your face. Like it's too
No.
much stimulus.
Yeah, it's way too much, way too close. Like it's a lot of people have the same complaints you do. It's just like I get dizzy, I get
Mhm.
headaches. I have a hard time focusing with eyes after a while. Like there's a lot of stuff that's negative, and it's how do we fix that?
Right.
So, yeah, It's something that's a problem. I see AR, like augmented reality, becoming more a thing, and I already see that happening in a lot of workplaces near, like, adjacent to my work and how I function. AR is becoming more of a thing in those fields, so I think that's going to be something to look out for sure.
Yeah, and plus everyone wants to be Tony Stark. We all want to have like our screens all over the place and a touch screen desk and like an AI. Oh God, AI.
Yep.
We don't, that's a whole different rabbit hole at this point.
Whole nother episode.
All right, Jason, been a good episode. Maybe next time we'll talk about AI and gaming. But thanks for taking the time to talk about Pika, talk about Elders of Ki and everything you guys are working on. For those in the audience that listen to the episode, please check out Pika Crypto. They are our sponsor at the moment, and all their information is down in the description for the episode. You can check out the website, you can check out the community on Telegram, check out the game and the TCG as well. Very, very exciting how much they are pushing forward into this, into the space of gaming and blockchain. So Jason, thank you for coming on and highlighting everything and going into some depth on the myth, the lore, what's to come. Very exciting. We'll do another episode soon.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank you for having me. I love coming on here. I love talking. So it's great.
Of course, anytime. Take care. We'll talk soon.
All righty.